Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond. My name's Taylor, and welcome back to the OverAchievers podcast, episode 14. I studied the blade. Joining me today is a very special guest, one who I've never had on the podcast, and unfortunately never met in real life, though I've heard numerous amounts about him. And without him, I don't think I'd be making this podcast, or indeed this YouTube channel today. The other half of Jardev, the original channel that John started that I featured on, Robby.
Hello, you are far too kind. I am Robby, but some of the things you said, I don't know, like maybe, but thank you.
No, I mean, truly, over the course of making the Dear John video and, talking with John, especially about you, because you're the other half of that. You're one of the founding members of the channel. He could not speak higher of you, and he could not stress that the channel would not exist without the both of you. So I don't think you are willing to take enough credit about that.
I think in some ways you're right, but I think of myself more as like a catalyst for the channel rather than like the driving force, I guess, is how I would describe it. Because John really was the one who wanted to do it. He had the vision, the dream, the desire, and I thought it would be fun. So I was there with him, supporting him, and to start out, it's a lot easier if you don't have to just talk to yourself. I'm still bad at talking to myself, and especially when I play video games, I zone in a lot, and so it's hard for me to have a conversation that's enjoyable and can capture people's attention if I'm by myself, because I'll just sit there silently thinking. So playing with someone else makes that way easier, so I think that really helped.
I completely understand that. Yeah, like I obviously started out with both John and Chris, and then I've recently, as of the time of this recording, started trying to get into solo content, and it is rough. Yeah. I am so bad.
Yeah, it's rough. I did my Game to Z series years ago now on our channel, and it was hard. I tried really hard, but I played like 26 different games by myself, and I just felt awkward the whole time and didn't even know what to talk about, and it was just, like garbage.
So is there a possibility, now that you've had, more time to sit with it, more time to experience it, that we could get a revival of the Game to Z series on the Noiseberry Games channel?
I'd have to talk to John and see what kind of schedule he has for recording or uploading, and how much effort he'd want to put into editing, because I still don't have much experience with editing, so I imagine he would be the one to edit it. Granted, it probably wouldn't require that much editing, so there's a chance. I've thought about it, like, maybe it'd be fun to go back and try some other games that I haven't played in a while, or like John's library, which he shares with me, is like increasingly growing all the time.
Oh, so it's ridiculous.
There's so many games, and there's games that I've bought that I was so excited about and I just never played. And so possibly we'll say yes. I won't say no.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Robby is going to be bringing back the Game to Z series. Please go to the Noiseberry Games channel, link in the description down below. More specifically, go to the series that Robby and John do together, the most recent one being Plate Up. The playlist for that will be in the description down below. Go and check it out, and leave the comment saying, Robby, please bring back Game to Z, just so we can see more of it.
Oh, Plate Up is so good too. Honestly, you should buy that game if you haven't.
I don't know, man. Like, I tried Overcooked, and I get so stressed out. Now, granted, my only experiences with them are with John and Chris, and if you've been watching Elden Ring, I'll link all this in the description down below. You'll know that I feel like I have to keep them on a leash sometimes. Like, I am the mom of that trio. Like, it's so bad.
Okay, I will say this. Overcooked is like kitchen stress. Like, it's meant to be stressful, right? Like, it's not meant to be chill. They just throw so much wacky shit at you that it's just wild all the time. They're like, yeah, what if the kitchen just lit on fire or fell out of the sky, or you are all of a sudden in traffic? Like, yeah, it's just insane. Plate Up, you have a bit more control, right? Because you get to build your kitchen how you want it, and each day you get to choose upgrades and whatnot. But I will say that some of those upgrades really f you over, and it can get pretty wild too. But it's different, and it's just so much fun.
Fair enough. And as I said, all that will be linked in the description down below. If you're listening on the podcast, it'll be the YouTube link, so you can go and watch it or just listen to it there. But we should probably get back on task.
Probably.
Robby, what game are you going to be presenting to us today?
I will be presenting Ghost of Tsushima, or Tsushima.
Perfect. And
depends how
I know it's such a hard pronunciation. Like, you don't want to sound. disrespectful or like a giant weeb who's like Tsushima.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, you know, like you don't want to sound like you're
Immediately
trying
canceled, straight up.
too hard, but like you also don't want to be like, I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Right? You don't want to sound like that white dude at the sushi buffet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so it's safe to assume you played this on PlayStation.
Yes, I did. I played it on PlayStation 4, I believe.
Oh, not even the PS5?
Well,
Give it the times, man.
It wasn't on PlayStation 5 when I played it. I played the crap out of it. And then I started playing New Game Plus on PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to clarify for the audience at home, you have not gotten all achievements for the DLCs, but you have gotten them for the main game. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. I technically haven't finished the New Game Plus achievements. There's only 2 of them, I think. And then I haven't done the multiplayer stuff yet. And I also haven't finished the Director's Cut expansion stuff either. I think Director's Cut maybe is what they did when they brought it to PS5, and they also included like an expansion. And I haven't gotten there yet because I wanted to do it on my New Game Plus playthrough, and I didn't get far enough yet to do that. And
that's fair.
I'll tell you why once we get into it a little bit.
Sounds good. And I do want to just remind the audience at home, I have a personal hatred for multiplayer achievements as a solo player myself, so I'm more than happy to exclude them from the all achievements journey. And I don't always like including DLCs. Again, you know, as of time of this recording, I recorded episode 11 today, which will have been out months ago. I did not get all achievements in the Mafia 2 DLC because, well, I mean, those achievements were absolute bull, but you'll have known that from the episode. But also, I don't like restricting people to have to do the DLC. I think the base game is more than enough because for some people, that's all they can access, and I don't want to exclude people who aren't able to either purchase or obtain the DLCs for whatever reason. So I think the base game is more than enough, and I'm happy to have anyone on here who is just on the base game, even minus multiplayer achievements, because those are horrible.
I would agree with that, and it's kind of off topic. You can almost do a whole other podcast on it, but I 100%ed the original. No, I almost 100%ed the original Assassin's Creed game, but I didn't because it has some bullshit achievements. There's some really, really bullshit ones. So
okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So for those of the audience who have never played or even looked at something based on Ghost of Tsushima, which I'd be really surprised by, could you give us a quick overview of just like the story and relative gameplay?
Sure, yeah. So the story, basically, it follows a samurai who lives on the island of Tsushima, which is on the west coast of Japan, just off the west coast, kind of between mainland China and Japan. Obviously a bit closer to Japan, but it's kind of during the time when the Mongols are going and taking over huge parts of Asia, and so they're like starting to storm Japan by sea. So they arrive at Tsushima first, the part of Japan that's closest to mainland China where they kind of come from, or I don't know if it was Mongolia at the time, but anyways, they arrive by boat and they basically start just taking over the entire island, and like the samurai will go down to the beach to like fight the Mongols that are storming them, and basically the main character Jin Sakai's like entire samurai like clans are all massacred and his uncle is taken captive. And so the story follows him as he fights with himself and also the Mongols to free Tsushima. And I say fights with himself because he has a code as a samurai, but he's finding that in order to free his people and the island, he has to do things that fall outside of that code. And so he battles with, am I the ghost of Tsushima who does things for the people, the betterment of the people, or am I Jin Sakai the samurai who has to follow the samurai code and do things with honor?
Okay. And so I have personally played this a bit. When I was borrowing a friend's PS4 and I was house sitting for another friend, that's a whole story.
Not a PS5?
Not a PS5. PS5 was not released at the time, I will say. So I can confirm the gameplay is very, very fluid third-person action samurai, or kind of, not quite Assassin's Creed combat, but like, the stealth aspects of it.
It's close to old Assassin's Creed combat, which is one thing that really drew me in. But funnily enough, that said, it was announced at like E3 years before, I think, like 1 or 2 years before the game actually released, and then like just 6 months beforehand it was like hyped and there were, trailers and whatnot, and I really didn't pay any attention to it at the time. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention and that's why I didn't give it any attention, but it wasn't until like a week or like days before it released that someone sent me something. It was like, oh look, this drops really soon. It was right before my birthday kind of thing, like in July, like mid-July. And I looked at it and I was like, holy crap, this game looks incredible. It looks like everything I ever wanted, like Assassin's Creed in Japan with ninjas and samurais. This is everything I ever hoped for, because I have a long history with Assassin's Creed. I haven't finished any of the newer style ones, like Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, but I played a lot of the earlier ones where there was more stealth combat and it wasn't such an open world RPG kind of thing. So this game really spoke to me when I first saw it, and so I actually went out of my way to try and track down a collector's edition, because I was like, it comes with like a physical mask. That's so cool. Holy crap. And I'm a collector. I love having stuff on shelves, like displaying it and spending way too much money on stuff I really don't need. But I saw that and I was like, I need to find this. And so I like scoured the internet for it, and I was like checking places, calling places, and then eventually I managed to get my hands on 2 of them.
Wow.
I think, what did I do? I like ordered one online and somehow managed to order one for like pick up in store or something at like a Best Buy. And so I got the one and I was like, okay, I have to like have it shipped. And then I found out that a store had it like day of too. So I went and I like picked it up, and then I tried to cancel the second one. They're like, oh no, we can't because it's already shipped. And I was like, okay, well, whatever, I'll try and return it. But before I did that, I tried to see if anyone else wanted to buy it, because I was like, it's so cool, but none of my friends really care about collector's edition things as much as I do, so I tried so hard to get other people to buy it, because I was like, it's so cool, and nobody wanted it, so I ended up just
you're saying John, who you went to Japan with, admittedly before this game came out, was not interested in buying it?
Yes, because John does not give a crap about collector's editions for the most part, I will say.
Yeah, he has how many Funko Pops, and he's gonna complain about this?
John has not purchased a Funko Pop in years, though. Years. Like, the latest ones that he's gotten, I purchased for him, I think. And also, he has nothing on me, so... like legitimately, he's got nothing on my collection. So. Okay,
I don't want to accidentally call you out by proxy, so I'll stop there.
It's a problem. I admit it. It's a problem.
I'm not qualified to speak about this.
Okay. Fair enough.
So before I dig a huge grave for both of us, how many achievements does this game have?
It has 52 achievements. Base game.
Okay. I feel like 50 is like almost a standard number for most games.
I think
it's kind of weird how many games have had 50 or around 50 achievements.
When I was playing games on Xbox 360 years back, over a decade ago or whatever now, yeah, it felt like 50 was pretty standard for how many achievements games were supposed to have.
Yeah, and I don't know why that was. Like, it was just a weird, arbitrary number.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of odd. I don't know. Good question.
I'll look into that one of these days.
Yeah.
So was this wasn't your intention to get all achievements when you started playing the game, or did you kind of pick it up, play it, beat it, and then kind of go back later for all achievements?
I am, like, if I was to describe myself when it comes to games, at least in the past, since I've grown older and had less time, I've had less time to play single player games. But generally, I would describe myself as an achievement whore. I go after those achievements. I love to have that 100%. When I was playing on Xbox, I was all about gamer score, like...
Oh, so was I. Oh my god, those were the days. Build it.
Like, yeah, I 100% in Halo 3. No, I won't say that because I didn't ever play the campaign solo on Legendary. But, I went for all the really hard ones. And... so in general, I like to complete all the achievements. It's not necessarily what I'm thinking about all the time while I'm playing it, but after I beat it, I will go and make sure I have every single achievement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sounds like we'll have a couple episodes in the future.
Sure. I'm happy. I like talking about achievements.
Cool. So have you gone back to the game since you got all achievements, at least for the base game?
Well, I did start New Game Plus when they brought that out, so I guess technically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and one thing that they brought out pretty soon after it released, it wasn't available right away, but it was pretty quick after, was a higher difficulty mode. So,
okay.
Most of the time in games, the difficulty slider just scales up. It's like you do less damage, you take more damage, right? Which is pretty, like...
standard, if not boring.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, it is standard, but it's also really boring. It's like, okay, my difficulty is just, like, things are harder to kill and I'm easier to kill. Like, whoop-de-doo. What they did, and I'm struggling to remember what the difficulty was called now, but it made it so that you do... Oh, it's called lethal mode. You do basically lethal damage with all your sword strikes, and you also take basically lethal damage from other sword strikes and stuff.
Okay.
So you take way more damage, but you also deal way more damage. So it's almost more realistic. It's like, oh, I can't get slashed 10 times and just be okay. Like, oh, shit, I got slashed. I'm like...
Gotcha. Okay, it kind of reminds me of Devil May Cry's Hell in Hell mode, where you go down in one hit, but your opponents also go down in one hit.
Yeah, that sounds like pretty much the same. As you kind of unlock better armor and things, you kind of can tank things a little bit easier. You're a little beefier. But yeah, you deal way more damage, and so in some ways, it's like the hardest difficulty because you can die so easily. But in other ways, it's easier because you kill things so much faster.
Yeah, is there anything to stop you from just arrow spamming at that point?
Well, so there are two types of bows in the game. There's a short bow and a long bow. And the short bow, like, the only way that you can really one-hit kill enemies is like a headshot, and as you progress through the game, the enemies get more and more armor, and so eventually they start getting helmets, and the only way to one-hit kill them is like a shot to the face.
Yeah.
And so that makes it hard. Or the longbow, which can pierce their armor. So,
but you don't get that till, what is it, like halfway through?
Yeah, I think it's on the first island still.
Oh,
but
okay.
You need to upgrade it, and to get the upgrade materials to make it really strong, you probably have to be, like halfway through or more through the game. So
yeah, because I only got to the start of the second island.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because I was stupid enough to try and beat Bloodborne and Ghost of Tsushima in the span of a month while working full time and house sitting / dog sitting.
I don't see a problem with that. I don't know why you couldn't do that. Yeah.
I was also married at the time. Yeah, I'm still married, mind you, but like, you gotta spend time with the wife, with the dog. You gotta clean. You gotta cook. You got social obligations. Like, why does life have to exist?
Yeah, it's rough, definitely. So, but yeah, I would say you could arrow spam if you really wanted to, and sometimes that's fun, like, because there is like arrow drop off, right? Like gravity and stuff. Physics, I guess, is the word. And so it's fun sometimes to be like, okay, how high do I have to aim this to have it arc down and hit the guy how I want, without them sounding the alarm and all come and just mess me up.
Fair enough. Okay. So, how long did it take you to get all achievements for the base game? Is that something PlayStation shows you?
So, I think it's supposed to, but I think there was a weird thing when I went and moved it over to my PS5.
Oh.
Because I think it just merged them all over at once.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, what is your total playtime right now?
Total playtime. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can see that. I'd have to bring it up on my PlayStation.
Okay, no worries.
To see
how long do you think it took you?
It probably took me to like beat the whole thing like 30-40 hours, I think. To get all the achievements, probably like 40 to 50, I would think. But I took my time and I had fun with it,
I think that's pretty good for a full price game.
Yeah.
Considering you still have a couple more to go, which I imagine maybe 10 or so hours.
Yeah, like, if I included the DLC, there's probably like 10 hours worth of content there, I would think.
Okay. So, what do you think throughout your whole journey, the hardest and easiest achievements were for you?
Hardest and easiest. Well, some of the really easy ones are like pretty obvious, I think, like just playing through the story, you unlock some. There are some fun ones that I unlocked by accident.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. So I did it by accident. It's kill an enemy with fall damage by knocking them off a ledge. I think I like shot him with an arrow and he just like fell, and that was a fun achievement because I wasn't trying to get it and it just happened. It wasn't hard, obviously it's pretty easy because sometimes they're just standing near ledges.
Yeah.
There aren't really any achievements that were really hard. Like there's some that are like collect all the things, and they have ways in the game to help you actually do it, which is one thing that I really, really liked because I like to complete all the achievements in my games. Some games like the Assassin's Creed games, they're like, here are collectibles, and then you're bringing up a guide on your computer while you're playing the game so that you can mark on your map where all these collectibles are, and you're trying to find them like hidden in weird spots, and there's no way in the game to track it. But in Ghost of Tsushima, you can actually track, like, I think you have to buy upgrades, but you can track every single collectible that you have to get, and so it's actually quite easy to get them all if you put
that
in
is
the time.
very useful.
Yeah, it was really satisfying. It was awesome. It was also one of the first games I played that I actually didn't mind not having a minimap. Most of the time, and historically, I'm like, where's my minimap? I like the minimap. I want to see what's on the minimap. But in Ghost of Tsushima, you use the wind and the direction of the wind to guide you to your locations, and it kind of uses like a compass system that was introduced in, I don't know if it was actually introduced in Oblivion or whatever Elder Scrolls games, but those kinds of things where there's no minimap, just compass direction stuff.
No, I like that too, when you could just like push on the whatever the pad
the
is.
The touchpad,
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, so that
was was really interesting.
It was very, very cool to do that, and so you could get all those. So those weren't really hard. Like, I guess getting all the stuff is probably hard, just from I have to put in the time to do it. But it's not actually that difficult, I guess.
No, that's fair. So, okay, so speaking of fun and things like that, what were the most and least fun achievements for you?
I think it's kind of satisfying when you basically just unlock achievements as you play. Like, obviously not all of them, but I like being able to like get achievements and be like, okay, I did the major thing. And then I also, because I guess I'm a collector, I like getting the achievements for collecting things. I don't like it in games when I go and collect all the things and there's no reward for doing that, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
that's... Oh.
There was a couple achievements that I had to look up. One of them is dress up as a legendary thief. And basically, that one I didn't like, I would say. And maybe that's like the hardest one, because they're basically alluding to like Sly Cooper, the games from years ago, when they do that, because the trophy's called Cooper Clan Cosplayer. So basically, there's certain like cosmetic items in the game that you can buy, and if you put them on, like all of the right ones on, you can dress up as a legendary thief and you'll unlock that achievement. Since I didn't know which items those were, I didn't find it very obvious. Maybe if you like looked into it and played the game or whatnot, it would be, and like just looked at their names, like the names of them, it would be. But I had to just look it up and then go find the items and throw them on. So I guess that one wasn't that thrilling to me, but it's cool. It's a cool nod to that. But I personally, since I never played those games, didn't mean much.
What?
I know I wasn't a PlayStation kid at the time, though. That's what I'll say.
Are they not on the PlayStation Store or like PSN?
They might be, but I haven't played any like retro PlayStation games since I moved to PlayStation. Like I had a PS3 in the household, but I didn't really play it. It wasn't until the PS4 came out that I started to play more PlayStation games, and even then I haven't played many exclusives. So
yeah. Okay, and so what do you think was the most fun for you then?
The most fun achievement? Like, honestly, some of the, like, there's one for, like, completing all the tales, so, like, doing all the quests and everything to help everyone. That's pretty fun, because I like to do that.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
So, okay, what is the rarest achievement on the list, outside of, say, even if it's getting all achievements, that's fine. I usually don't include that, but that's just me. So, what do you think, or Yeah, let's go with outside of the platinum. What is the rarest achievement on the list, and do you feel it deserves its place as the rarest?
So, they do sort by rarity here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's sorting properly because it doesn't seem right to me.
Okay, what is your app saying?
Gosh, I feel like it's... I could sort before, and now it won't let me sort by rarity, so I feel like it's wrong. Because, yeah, it says rarest trophy earned is obtain all trophies, obviously. But then they're kind of scrambled a little bit, it seems. So,
okay.
Interesting.
So I'm also just looking on a website here that shows me the rarest of at least what it's recorded for, who, like, the number of people that have gotten these trophies. And if I'm seeing this correctly, we may have just discussed the rarest achievement just a moment ago.
Can you sort by rarest achievements on this website that you sent me?
If I hover over them, it shows me what percentage of people have actually gotten them. Which is weird because it says, like, it gives you a different percentage when you hover over it versus when you're just looking at it.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, and it's like, I guess they have a rarity, a common or whatever, associated with the level of achievement. They've got like bronze, silver, gold, whatever. And
then versus the number of people who've actually gotten it.
Yeah.
So as far as I can tell, based on this website, and I'll leave this in the description down below so that you at home can see what we're seeing, it is actually Cooper Clan Cosplayer at a 10.1% achievement rate.
That doesn't surprise me at all, just because of, yeah, it's not obvious. So... But and then there's also Dirge of the Fallen Forge, play the Lament of the Storm at a friend's grave. So
okay,
that one.
And how much? What's the percentage on that one?
That one here, it says, is 10.7, so just a little higher than Cooper Clan Cosplay.
Okay, and interestingly enough, when I hover over Living Legends, the platinum, it is 9%, meaning there is only a 1% difference between those who have gotten all achievements and those who have gotten the ones that we just discussed.
Yeah, it's pretty close. So yeah, those ones.
So why do you think? So you've already mentioned the Cooper cosplay one. Why do you think the other one is so rare?
It's because it's not really obvious where the location is. Like, if you're paying attention to the story, and like I think there might even be a mark on the map, but like you have to be paying attention and know like which friend is it, where was it, and go play it there, like play the song there. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's not like. That is one of the less hand-holdy ones. Same with the Cooper Clan cosplayer. Like, this game is not really, like, super difficult achievements that you should feel really proud of because you worked really hard to get them. It's just, like, for the most part, like, you go through the motions and you get them all, and it's satisfying, but it's not horrifyingly difficult, sort of thing.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, what was the most memorable achievement to you? And this can be, like, good memory, bad memory, and, you know, what made it such an impact?
Honestly, probably, like, finishing, like, getting all of them. Just because I was like,
okay,
nice, you know, like, I don't have that many platinum trophies on PlayStation just because to get the platinum, you need to finish all the other ones. Like, every single one. Which is different from how, like, Xbox handles it. Or how they handled it in the past. Maybe they do it differently now. But, you know, before with Gamerscore, you know, they had certain point allocations associated with them. So you could complete a really hard one and feel really proud about that and not necessarily have completed all of them. Whereas on PlayStation, getting that platinum means like, yeah, you did it. You went the full mile.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a bit of a cop-out answer, I know. But
no, hey, I don't like to bar my guests from saying anything. You know, like, they can all choose their own answers. I have different criteria for myself, but I'm the one running the show. So I feel like I should hold myself to a different standard.
Fair enough.
So, is there an achievement you would remove from the game?
Remove from the game? Actually, before we go there, the other one that I think is really kind of fun is Master Liberator. Liberate the entirety of Tsushima Island, because you have to go to every spot on the island and, like, make sure that all the Mongol bases are gone and whatnot, and that's, you know, somewhat tedious, but also pretty satisfying to do. You're like, nice, I did it. So
yeah,
one that I would remove,
and you don't have to remove any. It's just like, is there one that you think doesn't deserve to be there?
I think the achievement A Moment in Time probably doesn't deserve to be.
Okay.
Personalize a scene in photo mode. But that's just because I personally don't care about photo modes in games. Like, I don't spend hours or even minutes looking at, like, screenshots, playing with different filters or lighting or anything to take a cool screenshot. I'm just not that into screenshots. So, for me, it was one that I completed just to do the achievement and have it checked off the list. It wasn't one that I unlocked by unintentionally by going to explore photo mode. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, photo mode kind of always a hit or miss with certain people. Like, I don't really care about it, but I totally see it. It's just a waste of time for some people.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there an action or way of playing that you feel deserves an achievement because it doesn't have one?
So it's a little tricky because nowadays a lot of games are moving more towards, like, you can change the difficulty at any time to suit your playstyle and your needs or whatnot. And I think that's great. That's really inclusive and awesome and probably the most fun way to play. But it means that you can no longer have achievements associated with beating something on a certain difficulty. And for me, that stings a little because I would love to get an achievement for, like, basically playing the game on a harder difficulty, like in lethal mode or something.
Okay. So, I will say there are plenty of games that I have covered or that other guests have covered on this podcast that do have difficulty-based achievements, so they're definitely out there. I don't know how many of them are on PlayStation.
Yeah, so some of them do. Like God of War has the one for beating it on the Give Me God of War difficulty, which is ridiculously difficult, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to get that one, but it's there. So it's kind of like a love-hate relationship, right? Like, if you can do it, it's like, nice, I feel really proud of myself for doing this, even though maybe it sucked and I spent so long doing it. Or at the same time, you want all the achievements and there's that one that you can't get because you cannot be bothered or you just cannot manage to beat the game on that harder difficulty. So,
no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, well, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, we have reached the midpoint of the episode. Please remember, if you're on YouTube, we are also on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and most other podcast platforms if you want us on the go. If you're listening on the podcast, we are also on YouTube at the Tees Table YouTube channel. You can also follow me at TTYT22 on Twitter. Make sure to check out Robby's videos. Again, link to the description of both the podcast and YouTube channels at the Noiseberry Games channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I would love to see this channel grow and get more guests on here. I have honestly so much fun doing this podcast. The more people I can get out there, the more people I can bring in. So please share it around. Like I said, subscribe. And yeah, we'll continue with the episode.
So one thing that we haven't talked about is New Game Plus yet, and it kind of came out later. You know, I don't think it was part of their DLC stuff, but it was something that came out later. And with New Game Plus, they came out with the difficulty called Lethal Plus. So it's even more so, like, that little bit harder, right? Like, just a little bit harder. You hit harder, you take more damage, even more. And then with the DLC that they brought out, and the Director's Cut mostly, actually, not necessarily tied to the DLC, but when they brought out the Director's Cut and the PlayStation 5 version, they brought out different, what are they called? They're like charms, I think, that you socket onto, like, your sword and stuff. And they brought out ones that really negatively impact you. I believe this is right. Maybe there are some that were in the game before, but I can't remember. But there are some that, like, are really negatively impact you. And this is something I actually kind of wish there was an achievement for. I played up till now, like, where I'm at in Ghost of Tsushima New Game Plus. I just finished the first third of it, like the first part of the island.
Okay.
I've played the entire portion of that on Lethal Plus with a charm on that makes it so that any damage I take insta-kills me.
Oh my god.
So I've enjoyed it, but it's also really awful and difficult because an arrow flying from, you know, some random NPC somewhere can just kill you in the middle of a fight, and that kind of slows things down a little bit. You know, you have to redo it. And
so you chose to make yourself even more vulnerable to enemy attack.
Yes. Yeah, but I also play on Lethal Plus where, like, you know, I do tons more damage.
Okay.
I found it really satisfying to get really good at parrying and blocking and countering, I
Okay.
guess. So
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun playing it up till this point, but it kind of goes back to like, is there an achievement that you wish you had? Like, yeah, I wish that there was a reward for doing it that way, because right now I'm doing it just because I want to, and I don't get anything to show for that at the end. So I kind of, when I last played, I kind of stopped doing that because I was like, I'm not actually going to get anything for this, and I'm not going to be able to enjoy the story again as much if I do it this way. So maybe I won't do that, but
Gotcha.
I did have fun with it. Like, it was like, there are all sorts of like abilities and stuff where you can like heal yourself, or like if you die, you can revive yourself and whatnot. And I like just basically crippled everything on me. Like, I made it so that everything, like all those actions that use your energy, your ability energy, whatever, costed way more. I think it's called resolve. Everything cost twice as much, and like, I didn't allow myself to revive necessarily, and like all these things. So I made it really hard for myself, but I had lots of fun with it because the game is just amazing. So
Awesome. Oh, that's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you a very personal question, so feel free not to answer this. Are you a masochist?
Yeah, sometimes in video games, sure.
Okay. Okay. You know what? Fair enough. I don't judge. I don't judge.
I like the challenge, I guess.
Yeah.
That said, I don't know if I could play Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, because I don't know if I'm enough of a masochist to play those ones. So
It sounds like you're more of a masochist when you're doing this kind of stuff.
like, maybe it's because I already played the game and I know what to do and I'm good at it, and I'm not just getting destroyed willy-nilly and trying to like fudge my way through it. Like, if I die, it's because I screwed up, like, and I should have known better. But I feel like in Dark Souls and all the other games, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, and so I just get punished over and over and over again. Like, I tried to play not Sekiro, Neo. I tried to play Neo, and I couldn't even get to the part where I could start playing with friends because I just kept getting shit on, and I did not enjoy it. And this wasn't a long time ago. This was like within the last 6 months, and I was really frustrated, and I was like, God damn it, this sucks. I don't like this game. Very frustrated.
Yeah.
Uninstalled. So, yeah. So,
Okay.
yes, sometimes
So
I'm
speaking of-
masochist. And
Speaking of Sekiro, have you played that? Like, have you gotten into that?
I haven't, but a friend of mine did highly recommend it to me. But that friend also really loved Dark Souls 3, so I'm kind of like, will I like it?
Okay, I will say this, as someone who has gotten all achievements for Dark Souls 1 through 3, Elden Ring, and Sekiro, and played a fair bit of Bloodborne, and like I said, gotten about a third, maybe a bit more, into Ghost of Tsushima. Sekiro absolutely plays the closest to Ghost of Tsushima and forces you to get good at parrying.
Right.
And it's not balanced around multiplayer. You have to play solo, unless, you play some of the expansions, but like, it's such a single player focused experience that I personally love, and I would highly recommend it from that aspect. Knowing that you're not a big fan of Dark Souls, knowing that they have to balance around multiplayer, Sekiro doesn't have that crutch. You have to rely on you, and therefore nothing feels like it's out of place. Nothing feels like it's too punishing.
Interesting. Okay. So, in general, I feel like I play lately a lot of games like socially. I play a lot of Rocket League, Destiny, Halo Infinite. I'd like to think of it as social, but I find a lot of the time I play that by myself because my friends get really salty about it. It's just buggy and glitchy and has issues, and I just like to play.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like to play online, and I've been playing Halo for years, so I'm decent at it, and other people are like raging in the corner. So and it's understandable. There's some bullshit that happens. But that said, like, single player games are kind of hit and miss for me because sometimes I really like the story, like Ghost of Tsushima, no problem playing that. Assassin's Creed games, no problem playing those. Even like Pokemon games, I love playing those. But other games, I find it hard to get into. And then I like being able to play through things, I guess, cooperatively. Like, even if it's like a single player game, but you can play it cooperatively. I really enjoy those kinds of games. But that was something with the Dark Souls games that I didn't like, is the whole, like, is it called invading?
Yeah, invasion mechanics.
I do not like invasion mechanics because when I'm playing it with friends, I kind of want it to be PvE, you know? Like, I'm there to play with my friends, to do the story or whatever, work my way through this hellhole, and I don't like it when some random dude comes and on my parade.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. I'm of the exact same mindset.
So, that, like, when John and I had a Dark Souls 3 series that we tried to do, actually.
Oh, I think I remember that, and it lasted, like, what, 4 parts? 6 parts?
Well, I don't remember exactly, but there was some miscommunication because John just deleted things, and I think he thought that I didn't want to play anymore, but I was kind of interested in continuing. Like, I didn't feel like I didn't want to play, but we hadn't talked about it, and I think he just assumed that I didn't want to pick it up again. And so I brought it up one day, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, I got rid of some of that stuff because I thought we weren't just going to do it anymore. Like, well then. So, yeah, fun fact, I was going to try and play Dark Souls 3 with John, and it just accidentally didn't happen.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Maybe I'll do Elden Ring one day with him. And maybe you. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, I've been talking to John for a long time saying we should try to bring you on for something, but, I mean, obviously, you and I and Chris and you have never met in real life or really hung out or done something like this, so I think he's hesitant from that perspective.
Right.
And I understand, you know, there's no guarantee that we would all mesh together.
Yeah.
I would like to think so, but, you know, I don't want to force anything.
I'm not worried about it, honestly. I think it'd be fine. I think it'd be a fun time, so.
I will absolutely bring up the idea to him, because I would be down for that.
Sure, me too.
Okay, so, actually, getting back on track. Sorry I cut you off earlier.
Oh, no problem.
I'm really glad we were able to get back to it.
Yeah.
Are you able to soft lock yourself out of any achievements?
In this one, no. No, not in Ghost of Tsushima. Assassin's Creed 1, definitely. Really upset about that. Ghost of Tsushima, no.
Fair enough. So, how many times do you need to play the game to get all achievements?
One time.
Oh, I love when that happens.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of replaying games for the most part, especially when it comes to achievements. Like, I don't want to have to play a game 5 times to get all the endings most of the time, or like whatever. Secret endings or otherwise. So, for me to be able to like sit down, play through it once, and get all the achievements is amazing. And the fact that I love the game so much and wanted to go back and play it again on New Game Plus, granted there are some achievements and whatnot and DLC, that just speaks volumes about how good I think Ghost of Tsushima is. So.
Now, is this a case where you can get it all in your first playthrough, and you would recommend people do that, or is this more kind of a thing where you can get it in one playthrough, but you would recommend 2?
No, I think you should do it in one because a lot of them are focused on things that you would normally do in regular gameplay anyway, or like collectibles and stuff. So,
gotcha.
One thing I will say though is what I did before the New Game Plus came out. I went and I got all the cosmetic stuff, and the way you get cosmetics is you go collect flowers of all things. You trade them to merchants, and they give you like different, you know, masks or other things. And so I went and I farmed flowers for a while so that I could get everything. And then New Game Plus came out, and I was like, oh shoot, are they going to add much more stuff? And they added like a little bit of stuff, but I think it used a different kind of currency. And so what I could have done is I could have not gone and farmed everything, and then I would have had a little bit more stuff to buy in New Game Plus, and I would have collected flowers along the way. So hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have spent the time that I did just running around in the fields collecting flowers so I could buy things that I wasn't ever going to use. But, you know, it's fine.
That's fair. So what you're saying is this Halloween, just buy a bouquet and see if you can give it to the cashier working at like Party City to get a Halloween mask.
Yeah, do it. Do it up.
Okay. You heard it here first, folks. Buy a Halloween mask with flowers.
Yep, they'll take it, I'm sure. 100%.
So, does the game give you like any in-game rewards for getting all achievements?
So, not really directly related to the achievements, but at the end of the game, this is not achievement related, but there's one thing at the end of the game where you have a choice. You choose one thing or you choose the other thing. Very end of the game. And depending on what you choose, you get a certain color of armor unlocked for you to run around with. So that choice gets you something else, but the achievements themselves, like, I mean, when you say that, do you mean like if you got all those things in the game, you unlock an achievement and you get something else for it? Or...
Yeah, like, so I know some games, like, if you get all the collectibles, which, you know, will have achievements tied to them, you unlock something special for getting the collectibles.
Right.
So I was just wondering if there's an in-game reward or if it's just the, you know, just the achievements giving you something.
I want to say that there wasn't really an in-game reward for doing it.
That's fair. And I mean, a lot of games don't have any sort of in-game reward for it.
Like, yeah, so like if you do haikus and stuff, I think you get like a bandana every time or something. And then when you go to the hot springs and unlock those, you get like more health and stuff. So you kind of get stuff along the way, but I don't know if there's, at least I can't remember if there's anything special that you get for like an ultimate bandana for doing all the haikus or anything like that.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So do the achievements themselves feel rewarding? Like, do they just kind of feel like a boring tedium, or do they feel like really rewarding? Like, yes, I'm so glad I got this.
I think it's kind of in the middle because a lot of it is so tied to just like the things that you would do in the game, like as part of the game. They're not like, you know, some games it really, you have to go out of your way to get the achievement. It's not something that's like tied to what you would normally do in the game. It doesn't feel like that, but it's also not boring. Like, because you're playing the game and doing the things, it like tracks in the game and also the achievement. So I would say it is kind of rewarding, but it's not, like I said before, they're not so difficult that you feel like you've really accomplished something when you get all the achievements. It's kind of like, oh, nice, I did that thing. Okay,
fair enough. Because yeah, I know some they feel really good and some they feel just boring, tedious, or even bad sometimes.
Yeah.
But then you get others that are kind of like, yeah, it's satisfying, but it's not much beyond that.
Yeah, I personally didn't feel like any of them were boring or super tedious, unless you really don't want to do like all the side missions or whatever, or like some of them. There's one, all in the wrist, defeat the maximum amount of enemies within a single standoff. So when you do, like, when you encounter a group of Mongols, you can do like a samurai standoff where you're basically like, come at me, bro, and then they come at you in increasing numbers as you progress through the game, and you can sort of attack, I think, or maybe with certain armor sets you can attack more enemies in that standoff. So when you get one certain armor set, you can like max it out and you can go through like 5, 6, or 7 enemies doing that, and you just have to like time your slash for when they run at you before they hit you. And so that one's kind of fun because you have to time it every time, and then as you go on and get towards the end, the camera angles kind of like change because they're coming at you from more directions, so it's a little bit harder to tell when they're about to hit you. So that one felt kind of rewarding to get, I guess. And then there's other ones like successfully stagger enemies 50 times. Like, that's one that you'll just get playing the game, and it's like, oh, cool, you know, I did that, but it's not necessarily like, wow, that was hard. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So does it feel like the devs cared about the achievements when they were making them, or is it kind of just slapdash together?
Bit of both. You know, like they didn't put a ton of effort in, but they did drop some little tidbits, like the Sly Cooper one. You know, that's like a nice nod that they like actually put some thought into. And then the play the song at a friend's grave one. You know, that's also, you know, like, okay, yeah, you've actually thought about this. But then there are the other ones which are just like, oh yeah, you like got to this part of the game, here's an achievement. So
gotcha.
Bit of both.
That's fair. So does the game require you to get 100% to get all achievements? Like, do you need all the collectibles, do all the things, or is there stuff you can leave behind?
I am trying to remember now.
Because this feels like one of the games where you have to get 100% like all the collectibles, because I've seen all the achievements for collectibles and like do all the side quests and stuff.
I think you do have to get all of them. Like,
okay.
Well, some things I think you have to do, like collect 20 records or collect 20 Mongol artifacts. I think there are only 20 of those. Oh yeah, and then there's one like complete all the hot springs, haiku, Inari shrines, and bamboo strikes. So yeah, I think you do have to get pretty much all the stuff. Although that said, you don't need to get all like the vanity stuff with the flowers, for instance, in order to complete all the achievements. But like all the in-game sort of activities, like go make a haiku or do a bamboo strike or sit in the hot springs, those types of things, yeah, you need those.
Yeah, that's fair. So technically then, by the definition, it wouldn't be 100% because you can leave the cosmetics on the table, so to speak.
Yes, yeah. I think I had 100% of the game before I went and finished all the cosmetics with flowers.
Oh, alright.
Yeah.
Just not a fashion guy?
I just already had stuff that I liked, and so I bought all the stuff I liked, and then I was like, well, I might as well buy the rest of it now, and that's all.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, do the achievements feel unique for the genre of game?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think it's pretty...
No, that's fair.
Pretty much like past Assassin's Creed games that I played, you know, like you go do all these things, and then you can do this one thing in combat, and if you do that, you get an achievement, and then go collect all the things after. But it was more fun to do the collectible stuff, like the artifacts and the records, because you could unlock the ability to track them, and so it was way easier to go find them. And like when you open up your map, you can kind of see which way the wind's blowing, so you can almost like triangulate where things are based on that. You like fast travel to one location, and the map, like the wind on the map is blowing in one direction, and you can fast travel to another location and see, is it blowing in the same direction? If so, you need to keep going that direction. But if it started going the other way, you know, it's kind of somewhere in between those two spots. So that was kind of nice, you know, like you could ride around on your horse and just like walk the whole thing, but like I think it's nice that they give you the option to not do that. You know, it's easier to collect the things if you want to collect the things.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, did you use any guides for this, or would you recommend people use a guide?
I used a guide for the Sly Cooper one.
Okay.
And I think that's the only achievement I had to use a guide for. If you really have no idea, I'd recommend you just look it up, because it's not that hard, you know, and I didn't think it was all that special personally. But if you want to have fun with it, you should definitely try looking at all the different things that you think you should equip in order to unlock that one, because they are named in a way that's kind of like, oh yeah, that seems like it's related to Sly Cooper.
Okay, so it really hints at it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Has this changed the way you look at the game, and do you regret going for all achievements?
No, I have no regrets about going for all achievements.
Nice.
My only regret is that I don't have the rest of them from multiplayer and New Game Plus and the expansion.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Now, final question, and this is always in my opinion, the most important. Would you recommend other people go for all achievements? And, you know, is there a certain type of player that would hate it and a certain type that would love it?
I think that with achievements, it kind of depends on your personal feelings. Like, do you really like the instant gratification for completing achievements, right? That's what a lot of gamers like. They get that instant gratification because they did that thing, they got an achievement that says you did that thing, and you know that really resonates with some people like myself. Other people, they really want the experience and the story and whatnot, and so I think if you care about the story, Ghost of Tsushima is an amazing game, and you could just forego all the achievements and just really love the world that they've built in there. So, like, I think in this game, if you wanted to 100% a game and say that you've done it, this is a good game to do it, because it's not really hard to get all of them. Yeah. So in that sense, I would recommend it. But like I said, to get the most out of the story in the game, you don't need to by any means. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Robby, so much for being here. It's been an honor to have you, truly.
Thank you for inviting me. This was honestly really great. I honestly didn't even know you did a podcast about achievements, but I'm so happy you do, because I love achievements.
I'm crushed that John didn't tell you.
Yeah, I just had no idea. I was like...
He's been on here how many times?
He never sent me anything. That
You gotta chew him out over this, man.
I will. I'm gonna give him such a hard time. Like, Do you know how long I've been farming achievements for, you sack?
Do it.
Goddamn.
I one day I would love to have both of you on an episode
Oh, God.
because I feel like that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, because John, as far as I know, does not give a about getting all the achievements.
He's coming around to it. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, you're working on him.
You gotta go back and shameless promo. Go back and watch the episodes with him in it.
Okay.
Usually I have him and the title. Sometimes I don't, but yeah, almost every episode has him in it. And he's done more than you might think.
I am surprised because when we were playing a lot of games for our channel, there's so many times where I'm like, oh, like there's a secret thing over here. Do you want to go do the secret thing? He's like, no. I want to just keep going with the regular thing. I'm like, but there's the side thing that we could go do. And he's like,
God, I'm such a side thing. Yeah. I'm such a side thing.
Yeah, like I want to do the side thing. I want to know what's over there. We can get the cool thing, whatever that's associated with the side thing. And he's like, no, it. I just want to keep doing the regular thing, and then we'll stop. And I'm like, God damn it, dude. Not a completionist, and it hurts my soul. So.
All right.
Yeah, so that's good to hear though that he's coming around, but he's also I feel like he's also picky about which games he would do that with. So
yeah, he is. If it's Dark Souls related, you're fine.
Oh, I'm sure with Dark Souls because he loves Dark Souls. I remember when he first started trying to get into Dark Souls, it was really hard for him.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
actually, I first invited him and Chris to do the Dark Souls 3 with me, all achievements, and Chris was not interested, John was, and that kicked off this whole thing that we have now just recently finished the trilogy, because we did Dark Souls 3 and then 1, and then the servers went down for, almost a year. But now that we're back up, we did Dark Souls 2, which we were planning to anyway. That is actually going to be episode 15, for those of you who haven't guessed that already. So, little hint there. But definitely he's coming around to the idea, I think, since doing them in the Dark Souls games.
That's really cool. I forgot that they brought the servers down for multiplayer for so long, and that was because of some network manipulation where they could control your computer hack thing.
Yeah,
right?
They could just invade you and then control your PC entirely.
Yeah, that's horrific. Not gonna lie, that's really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's.
But I mean, it's fixed now.
Yeah, true. That's
after
good.
Almost a year. That was a painful year too.
Oh, I'm sure. Ugh.
Anyway, I do want to reiterate one more time that Robby has been instrumental in not only what is now the Noiseberry Games channel, but in inspiring me through me being on the Jardev channel to start my own and start this podcast. So I cannot thank you enough for that. You will always be a foundational member of this channel, whether you like it or not, whether you see it that way or not. And I do hope to have you on in future episodes.
Well, thank you very much. I honestly really, really enjoyed it too. And I would love to be on future episodes to talk about more achievements that I've ground out. But I am now a little bit upset because you've added more to my plate now. I have to go 100% more games so that I can have things to talk about.
Man, you have no idea how much I've put on my own plate just for this podcast. It's so bad.
Maybe I have to go back and look at some of the old games that I played so that I can talk about those instead and cut myself some slack.
Oh, and I found a new really bad addiction, and that's getting all achievements for trilogies.
Oh no.
So I've done Dark Souls, Darksiders, Mass Effect, Mafia. I'm working on Call of Duty. I'm working on the Modern Warfare series rather. I just need to finish off Modern Warfare 3, but that is posing its own problems. I'm also going to do the Saints Row 3, 4, and Gat Out of Hell trilogy, because 2 doesn't have achievements. I was going to do the Resident Evil remakes for the lower numbers, and then the new ones, 7, 8, and 9. It's a problem.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that sounds nightmarish. And you were asking me who the masochist was. I see how it is.
I'm just a psycho. I'm an idiot.
It all blends together at some point, I guess. Hey, oh man.
Yeah, oh my god. Anyway, now that I've spoiled, I don't want to think about how many episodes in the future, if I make it that far. Thank you, everyone, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, so much for watching and or listening. One more time, we are on YouTube at the Tease Table YouTube channel, or just type in OverAchievers Podcast. We're also on almost every major podcast platform, anything I don't have to pay for currently. So please, by all means, check us out there. I will do better at responding to comments on the podcast itself. I'm always watching the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter, hit me up, let me know what games you are playing, what games you want me to cover here, what guests you might want, or any other questions you want me to add to the podcast. And with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!
Bye!